so I made this activity for above average readers or higher level readers that still went hand in hand with the standard that says describe characters in a story and explain how their actions contribute to the sequence of events. So the first thing that I had them do was write a few sentences describing the characters that really kind of like met the first part of the standard that says describe characters in a story. Now the second part is kind of more advanced, so I was really trying to think of what I can do that can challenge these students, and I had an idea of making them write the next chapter. Now, given that we do not have a couple days to write chapter 2, these students don't have too much time, so I thought maybe like a page length would be great. That can definitely kind of fit in with the amount of time that other activities have, and everyone will basically finish at the same time. So I have students kind of predicting, writing, using dialogue for their ideas of what's going to take place in chapter 2. So I told them that their writing of chapter 2 should be somewhat accurate. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly what chapter 2 entails. Now, I'm not grading them based on if what they wrote was correct, because there's so many different ideas that these students can have that there's not just one answer. It could be several different answers, but as long as they're maintaining the character traits and rolling them over to chapter 2, that is all that I'm truly looking for. I'm also looking for them writing about, all right, well, Fern has these traits, so in chapter 2, I think she's gonna do this with Wilbur, and Avery has these traits, and maybe he'll do pull a prank or something on her with the pig in chapter 2. So I just really want to see how students take the traits of the character that they've learned so far and apply it to chapter 2 and chapter 2's events. So that's kind of how this activity corresponds to the standard. Now, as I kind of mentioned before, these students, I wanted to challenge them a little bit. So because I wanted to challenge them because they are high level readers, I thought that them writing out kind of like a script, dialogue, the beginning, middle, or end part, whatever they wanted to write in chapter 2, they totally have the freedom to do so. And I also thought that giving them that freedom would be super beneficial to them too, and I think that they would really like this activity. So I gave them a lot of freedom, I gave them a lot of choice. I felt I really wasn't pinpointing exactly what I want to see them write. The only thing that I said was that it should be somewhat accurate. Character traits should roll over to chapter 2. There shouldn't be a drastic change in characters because we were just learning about them. So that's the only things that I really suggested for students to incorporate in their writing of chapter 2. So I feel like in this activity they could be very challenged, and I think working together you can have different students brainstorm and throw out different possibilities of ideas and stuff, and I think that they can collaborate, work together, and it can be something that is really awesome to grade and look at and kind of see their ideas shape. So I thought that was really fitting for this group of students. Now, the outside sources the outside source, I should say, that I used for this book, let me click on it. It is actually an article, and the article is titled Instruction for Advanced Readers, and it's by Marnie Ginsberg, and this article, it's really informative because it kind of details, it's pretty long, but it kind of details advanced learners, advanced readers, what to kind of like, how to instruct them, how to guide their instruction, how to kind of guide their independent instructions. It gives some videos, gives some knowledge about decoding, high frequency words, fluency, affixes, vocabulary comprehension. So I really use this to kind of get the idea of writing a script. So I was kind of between maybe like summarization, like students summarize what they read, but the more I went down, the more I saw and was reading about this type of activity where students kind of predict the next thing that's going to happen in the book. And I was like, okay, well, I don't just want students to write down their predictions. So that's kind of how I came up with the idea of students writing a part of chapter 2 in order to kind of show their predictions. So that is the resource that I used. Now, when it comes to the rubric, students are graded on 4 different things. So the first thing is characterization. So I asked students at the very beginning to identify the 4 characters and write a few sentences about their traits, what they like, what they don't like, kind of like who they are, and stuff like that. So students get 5 points if they identify the 4 characters and write some information about them that we learned from chapter 1. Now, if students write about 3, 2, 1, none characters, the points just get lowered. Now, the second category is chapter predictions. So I should actually have that chapter 2 prediction. And so students can get 5 points if they write an accurate prediction that is about 1 page length of the book. Now, this should include a script, it should include dialogue, point of view, all that stuff. So I kind of have that listed into the rubric. Now, points get lowered if it's not really as accurate, if dialogue's not involved, if it's less than a page length. So different things kind of make the points dwindle down. The third thing that I have, which is in every rubric, is teamwork. So I make it very clear that I want students to work together. The more brains you have, the better, ideas and concepts are flowing and are discussed. So those discussions are super important. I want students to hear different students' ideas because it kind of gets them thinking a little bit more deeply into things. So teamwork is super important in all these centers. So students get 5 points if all students participate. Points go down depending on if less students participate in this activity. Now, the last category is organization and neatness. Now, I think this is very important for future grades, future schools like colleges, future careers, jobs. I think that being organized and being neat is a very good skill to have. So I would like them to start practicing these skills now. So if work is neat and organized, you get 5 out of 5 points. That is perfect. So that is the rubric that I created. There's really kind of 2 parts to this activity. The first part is identifying the characters and their traits and writing some sentences. And the second part is writing up to a page length of predictions of chapter 2. So basically writing the story for yourself, writing chapter 2 for yourself. Up to a page. You can go, I told them you can go a little bit above the page if you really want to, but I don't really think students will have enough time to write more than a page. So yeah, I really just wanted them to focus on that, teamwork and organization and neatness. I feel like those are really the key points of this activity. So I think that includes everything, and thank you for watching.